Hello, and welcome back to DLA Alternative. It's your boy Brandon, and I hope everyone is doing phenomenal as always. And thank you as always to everyone who keeps subscribing, liking, and following this journey. We are on the road to 2K, people. We are less than 10 away, so please subscribe and get us to that 2K marker, and please keep growing this family with us. But thank you to everyone who has so far. But yes, as you can tell by the thumbnail and title, we're finally going to be talking about these Season 5 character posters, because I've been kind of waiting to see how they were releasing them since they only release so many at a specific time, and I'm starting to see the pattern here, okay? And you might not have noticed it, or you might have, but the pattern is that they're coming out in groups, okay? So the first group was the boys, and that's the one we're going to talk about in this theory. But if you notice the pattern, okay, the first group was the boys, then the second group was Max, 11, and Erica, and then the third group was Robin, Jonathan, Nancy, and Steve, okay? And if you notice the captions, okay, on Instagram specifically, on the Stranger Things Instagram, basically those captions are quotes from each of these characters, and each of these quotes are from each season, okay? So the group of boys is from season 1, the next group of the girls is season 2, and then the third group that we just received over the weekend is season 3. And as we know, Stranger Things is doing watch parties for each season every Saturday of October, and this Saturday specifically is going to be a chapter from season 4. So basically, that's what I'm thinking here, is that these next posters for this week or this weekend, we're going to be getting some character posters referred to season 4 quotes, and I'm curious of who you guys think that these character posters are going to be, okay? As we know, Holly Wheeler, okay, is going to be a main character, and we haven't seen a poster yet, so I'm curious if she's going to get a poster referred to season 4, because she doesn't have many lines, okay? So that's very interesting to this. However, what I want you to keep in mind is that I'm also thinking that it's most likely going to be Hopper and Joyce. We've been talking in the DLA Discord that it possibly could be Murray. We also mentioned that maybe Stranger Things is going to throw us for a loop again like they did in season 4 and give us a Karen Wheeler poster, okay, with a season 4 quote. Who actually knows? But I want to know your thoughts about that. But in this one, we're going to talk about the boys poster, okay, and their quotes and what they could mean, okay, to this show, and why they're using these quotes and why they're using these captions on their YouTube shorts, which is different. Because people, basically the title or the captions that they're using on the videos on YouTube shorts just gives a little bit more info. So we're going to talk about all of this, but let me know your thoughts about this, and I hope you guys like this one. So our first group of character posters, all right, we get our Will, Mike, Lucas, and Dustin. There's a reason that we're getting these in groups, and there's kind of some hints going on with these captions, like I said, because if you watch the YouTube short, people, all right, the caption on that, when they group all of these pictures together and not just singly like they do on their Instagram, the caption is different. And when they group all of these 4 boys together, the caption is the original party, all right, and each first letter is capitalized. Like the whole quote is like a capitalized quote, all right, and there's a reason I say that, because over the weekend, we just got our third group of character posters, and their quote on YouTube Shorts is all lowercase, and it's a little different, and I have no idea what to make of it, but let me know your thoughts about that so far. We're going to talk about that in another video when we talk about that group. But I want to continue with this group right here, because if you notice the pattern, people, like I said, each group of characters is from season 1, 2, and 3, all right? Or at least their quotes on their Instagram post. So we're going to talk about these ones, and basically the first one we get is our boy Will, and his quote is from season 1, chapter 1. It's basically right when we first meet Will, okay? And it's right before he leaves to go home after he leaves Mike Wheeler's house. And the quote they use for him is, "It was a 7, the roll, it was a 7, okay? So I've talked about this in other theories that we get double takes or do you copy moments, and that's a do you copy moment that has been in here from all the way back from the very first chapter of the show. But it makes me think, okay, because when we see later in this season, all right, how this season comes to a close with the D&D campaign, because this is right after all of that just entailed in this chapter, basically the roll that Will ends up rolling is a 14. So if you add those two sevens together in this double take or do you copy moment, that's a 14. So I don't know if that could be symbolic that maybe at this point in time, or at least all through season 1, that maybe we're only getting half of the story. And it makes a lot of sense, because what side of the story do we not get, people? We don't get Will's side of the story while he's in the Upside Down. And the thing that's interesting about his quote is that this is when he chooses to tell Mike the truth about what he rolled, okay? So think about that. If very symbolically is that Will's quote is about telling the truth, okay? So that's very interesting. Let me know your thoughts about that so far. But then we get Mike's quote, okay? And Mike's quote is from chapter 6 of season 1, being the monster, okay? And this is when he tells 11, after he just sacrificed himself, mind you, okay? He basically just sacrificed himself by trying to jump off a quarry, okay? Because Dustin was being bullied. And I want to hint at this real quickly, that there's some season 5 promo photos that are coming out, or behind the scenes photos from some articles online of Dustin, okay? And there has been some things out there in the past already, but Dustin apparently is going to be bullied by some of these bullies that we've seen in this show throughout season 5, at least from the little bit that we're seeing. And we know from some of these photos that Dustin has a black eye and he looks like he got into a fight. So that's very interesting that this connects here, because in this moment, people, this is when they were being bullied or chased by bullies, being Troy and that boy James. But Mike's quote is directly to 11 here, which is very interesting to the caption on the YouTube short being the original party, because right in this moment, Mike was trying, and basically trying all the way up until this point, to try and get 11 included in his party. However, that actually does not happen until the beginning of the next episode, when we get the Friends Don't Lie moment between Lucas and 11. So it's very interesting to this, and it makes me think that these quotes are little hints directed strictly to our original party and these 4 boys in these pictures. So let me know your thoughts as well, because the next picture and the next quote we get is of our boy Lucas, and his quote is also from chapter 1 of season 1, okay? Basically right before that moment of Will's quote, okay, during the original D&D campaign. And this is when basically Lucas and Dustin, okay, are telling Will 2 different things on how to make what decision, okay, on how to beat the Demogorgon. And basically, he's telling Will to fireball him, and that is his quote, okay? So what you got to think about this is that we know in this show that Will choosing this, it technically was the wrong decision at that moment in time. So that's very interesting. But what that resulted in is basically Lucas is the one telling him to make this wrong decision. And I want to make a connection to what Will's quote is, since these are both from the same chapter, all right? And they obviously have to have some connection if they're using them from the same chapter. It's a little interesting if you think about that. However, Lucas is the one who tells Will to lie to Mike about that role, and then Will's quote ends up being when he ends up telling Mike the truth about his role. So the thing about that is that I want to connect is that Lucas's is referred to fireballing the Demogorgon, okay? And it ends up being considerably the wrong decision, correct? Well, Will's, okay, is about telling the truth. So if we connect that, all right, and we're trying to think that as a little clue or a little hint that maybe fire is the wrong decision and not the truth on how to beat this Demogorgon, okay? If you get what my drift is, all right? Basically, Lucas is just telling him, he's like, okay, fireball him, and then he later tells basically Will to lie, okay? But Will decides to tell the truth, okay? And that can also be very symbolic that we might be able to find, or we're going to find out the truth about how Will survived, how he vanished, okay? And the decisions that were made that were wrong. So let me know your thoughts about that. It's kind of wild just based off these quotes in the chapters that they connect and just who's saying them. So let me know your thoughts. But our next quote, okay, is coming from our boy Dustin, as we know, and his also comes from chapter 6 of season 1 being the monster, which is very interesting because his is also the same moment of Mike's quote, okay, when he's telling 11, you're not the monster and you saved me. But Dustin's is when he's yelling at those bullies because 11 basically just saved Mike and broke Troy's arm and pushed that James dude down to the ground. And they end up running away, okay? And Dustin basically says, she's our friend and she's crazy, all right? And you already knew what the quote was going to be. But the thing about that is, people, all right, is that once again, this is about the original party. So how do these things connect to just these 4 boys, all right? So the thing I'm getting here is that basically when Mike tells 11 that, okay, that you're not the monster and that you saved me, the reason 11 even says that I'm the monster to him is because she has this flashback memory, okay, of her opening the gate and being the one that resulted in the gate opening, okay, and she feels guilty and she calls herself the monster. And Mike does not know this yet, okay? She basically says, I opened the gate, but he doesn't know how, okay? They don't know all of this shit yet at this moment in time. And what you got to keep in mind is that what Mike says and what Dustin says is basically that they could care less, all right, and that they're willing to accept 11 for her past mistakes and move forward because of the things that she's doing now. So what I want you to keep in mind is that we have our original characters here, and our boy Will, okay, is going to have a significant role in season 5, all right? And there's a lot that we need to know about the night Will vanished, about what the truth about what happens, and that all connects here, all right? But what 11 basically tells Mike, okay, she basically tells him the partial truth, okay? So that's also another hint that maybe we have only gotten the partial truth about this show from the very start, which is absolutely phenomenal that they wrote this and that they're leaving little hints like this if these are hints. And no doubt in my mind, with how many hints they leave in these posts, okay, whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, Raw Stuffer's Instagram, they leave so many little like context clues or Easter eggs within these, okay? And you really have to piece things together because they're not going to try and reveal shit to you. But if you really think about this, okay, there's something weird going on involving Mike being told the truth or Will being told the truth, or Will telling Mike the truth specifically, okay? And there's something weird about fire not being maybe the right decision to be made or not being the truth about what should have happened. So you got to really piece these things together. And I want to know your thoughts. But this is just the first part of this, all right? The next one, when we talk about the girls being 11, Max, and Erica, okay, that quote on YouTube Shorts, okay, the power these three hold, we need to talk about that one a little bit more in depth because I kind of found a connection, all right, referred to our girl Erica since she's thrown into that. And also Max, we don't know a lot about the power that Max has, except that we see a little bit about that in season 4, that Max has some sort of connection or a way to connect her mindset to be able to go into this piggybacking moments and all of this shit. However, we don't see anything like that with Erica, but I got an idea of what power Erica Sinclair can hold. But I want to know your thoughts about this one. I hope you guys like this one. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try and get this one out tonight. So if you're watching this one tonight on October 20th, I was able to get it out for you. And hopefully I'm going to try and work on the second one right now. We're referring to the girls, okay? And I'm going to try and get that one out for tomorrow morning. If it's not out by Tuesday, tomorrow morning, October 21st, it will be out by Wednesday. I promise you. But other than that, I hope you guys like this one. Let me know your thoughts about all this and where you think what you think these little hints are because of these, and why these characters are being separated into groups, and why quotes are going in order from season 1 to 2 to 3. Just let me know your thoughts. It's pretty wild and I'm very excited. We only have like a little over a month left, but let me know your thoughts about how excited you are. And once again, please, please, please subscribe. We are almost at that 2K mark, all right, people? We are literally less than 10 away. Just click that button, get us there. We have been working our asses off for the past year, analyzing this show and trying to put out as many Stranger Things theories as we can in this past year before the new season comes out. Trust me, when that new season comes out, we're going in as hard as we possibly can with these season 5 theories in the time that we have. So I love each and every single one of you. Keep subscribing, liking, following this journey, and you guys already know we out.